Hello, and thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the She Means Business podcast, where we bring together badass women business owners, industry leaders, and other aspiring women to celebrate their success and empower you. I am your host, Ashley Mistowski. I'm a business owner, wife, and mom of twin toddlers. Ambitious is my middle name. Join our email list and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You'll find inspiring content, updates, and the chance to connect with like-minded individuals. Remember to leave a review and share how we've inspired you. Now, let's get to business. Welcome back to the She Means Business podcast. I'm your host, Ashley Mistowski. I am so excited today to learn the story of our next guest. We met in my past life years and years and years and years ago when I owned a bakery. Keep in mind, I didn't do the baking. I was the operations and business person on that. So don't think I'm baking cookies. But she is in PR and we just kept running in the same circles. We did a lot of things with celebrities and I think a lot of her clients, she can go into that a little bit. But we've always stayed connected. I love social media specifically for that. And she does some amazing work within the community. But what people don't really know about Las Vegas is we're a pretty large city now, but like super small town vibes. What I've learned since I got out of the service industry and into the financial insurance world, everybody knows everybody still. Everybody is connected in some way, somehow. So fast forward, I know we just, other than being on social media and seeing each other, we've had some more connections through my mind performance coach, Lindsay Paoli, who is also a previous guest. So it's just been fun. She's a huge advocate for women and women business owners, and always love watching the things that she's doing for everybody. So let's just get to it. Welcome, Ruth Furman with Image Words Communication.
Oh, thank you. This is such a thrill and such an honor. I think you are extraordinary.
Oh, thank you. It's been so much fun. I think we've known each other for like 10 years now-ish.
Yes.
Maybe even longer.
I've watched your whole journey, both personally and in business. And I mean, I don't use the word inspiring lightly, but I just think you're like inspiring to an extraordinary level.
Oh, thank you. Some days it's like, what am I doing? It's a little bit crazy. And it's that image. I always tell people it's that image where everything looks smooth on the top, above the water, but underneath you're like paddling really hard like a duck. So sometimes it really makes you kind of stop and kind of rewind a little bit and look back through, and look back through everything you've accomplished and what you've done and be like, okay, you know what? You still have the struggles. Everybody has them, but look at what you've done, what you've been able to do. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. But enough about me. I am so happy to connect back with you. I would just love to hear your story because honestly, I don't even know you that well. So I just want to hear your story and kind of go from there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I am so blessed to be an entrepreneur. I'll celebrate my 23rd year in my own business this year.
Wow.
I started.
That's inspiring.
Yeah, thank you. It's crazy. I'm so excited. I'm pinching myself because I'm really grateful and I've learned a lot of lessons over the years and I'm still learning them. So I grew up in the Midwest and born in Wisconsin, grew up in Indiana, moved to Las Vegas from Chicago. And I was a journalism major. I was a journalist, got into corporate PR, started my own firm. And I was not a natural business owner. I was not a natural leader. So it really has been truly a journey with a lot of wrong turns for me. So
I think we all have wrong turns.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we do. And I really, I've learned from every wrong turn and I'm still making them.
Honestly, we all make them. And I always tell people, you're always going to make mistakes, but as long as you learn from them and grow from them, that's all you can ask, right? You can't have the successes without the fails.
Yeah. And, we both know Lindsay, the mind performance coach. And I think, partly through Lindsay, I've really learned sort of how I function best and how to navigate my natural tendencies to function
Hmm.
better both in my business and personally, Ashley. And that's been a real game
Sure.
changer for me. And I pause more. In the past, I never paused. I just kept going forward. And that's where I made some of
Yep.
those wrong turns.
Yep. That's actually a really valid point. Sometimes we really need to pause and just take a step back and kind of just look over everything. And I think that's a big thing because we get in that grind mentality as entrepreneurs. You have to feed your family, you have to grow your business, you have to grind away, and it's not the case. And the only thing that got me to that road is the kids. If I didn't have kids, I would probably still be in that mentality. So they've helped me kind of shift a little bit, like, nah, that's not what's important. They're
Yeah,
important. Life is important,
I, I
you
love
know?
I love that. I love that about you and about your journey and about some of your shares on social. And with me, I think even recently, and I've been in business for myself a long time, I was going
Hmm.
through this season of my business where I was feeling a little bit resentful of the fact that not everyone I was working with thought the exact way I thought and didn't necessarily attach
Mm,
the same value to things as I did. So I got kind of curious and I decided to force myself to slow down a little bit.
yeah.
I'm a quick start, but to force myself to really have those
Yep.
conversations, not just with my clients, but with people in my life. What's a win for you? What's valuable to you? And that's been really
Hmm.
positive for me, both in my relationships and in my public relations business.
Yeah. No, it's and it's a big a testament to you too, being that you said you weren't, a natural born leader, and you, as a business owner, even if you're in business just for yourself, you kind of have to be successful. So I'm sure that's brought in you a ton of personal growth, on that end, to just see how far you've come as an individual, not just the success of your business, but now in the personal side of it too, because they always overlap, right?
And actually, I'm a woman in my 50s, and I'm just now kind of getting to that sweet spot of of all of this. So that's one reason I was so honored to have this
Yeah.
conversation, because I'm hoping that some of the things that you and I talk about, will be helpful to others
Hmm.
watching this. It's not too late.
Yeah.
Never, and my
No.
negative self-talk can get really loud. So that's why I really, really
Hmm.
do evolve, and it's a daily thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels
Yeah.
good, and then I have to remind myself when I have that next hurdle to slow down
Yep.
and really focus on what's really important and what I'm capable of.
100%. And I love that you made the point about age, because I really struggle with that. Because, I mean, hello, I have 2-year olds and I'm turning 40. Like, all of my friends, their kids can babysit my kids. And so sometimes I'm like, you just get a late start in life. I mean, obviously I was dealing with fertility issues, so we were trying, but it took 7 years. But at the end of the day, our path is our path, and we can't look at it in a negative way, even though sometimes during those times we really are wondering, and the negative self-talk, definitely shows up. But I am so excited to be turning 40, and even with little kids, and I'm like, trust me, the energy part's hard. But I'm like, this was my path, and I just need to own it, and I'm excited for it. And honestly, I feel like it brings that extra level of, I don't want to say maturity, which some of it is, but I definitely have some immature moments, but it's definitely helped, right? So I'm glad you brought that up, because it's never too late. I don't think your path is written for you, and you just have to keep going with your gut. And if this is what you want to pursue, pursue it. I don't care whether you're 70, whether you're 20, go with your gut and what you want to do.
Yes, thank you for that. And I give you so much credit. And with me, I mean, I guess I judged myself a little bit the last few years as
Mm-hmm.
I changed my business and I up leveled and I added some new business offerings. And it's been heavy for me because, it hasn't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily come quickly or easily. So I think I judged myself a little bit,
Yep.
Ashley. I'm like, I'm a woman in my 50s. I mean, I should have this figured out. Or I would do, which I tell all of my mentees not to do. I would compare myself to others in my business and, ooh, this person seems to
Uh-huh.
have it figured out. He or she seems to have it all together. What's wrong with me? So now it's so natural for me to do that. So now I just don't allow myself to do that. I focus on my own path
Yep.
and I reinvent myself
That's
all the
awesome.
time.
Yep. Comparison is the thief of joy. I can say that left and right. And social media is not helping. And that's what we do all the time. Oh, look at this, this agent has, her life together. She's driving the fancy car. She's doing all the things, but you know what? Maybe she's not happy, or maybe she's, it's just a front, which I see a lot, especially in Las Vegas. Everything's kind of for show. And that's not who I am. I don't need the $1 million country club, thing. And I'm not I'm not saying anything bad if that's your life, but I don't need it. And I don't need to compare myself to that. I have 2 kids that I'm later in life raising. And so my money's going to that now. I don't, I have goals that I want to set that I would like to be, but I don't need it today and tomorrow. But it's a conversation you're always going in your head. And how do I fix that? And how do I, get out of that negative self-talk, like you were saying?
Yes. And and this is going to sound a little cheesy, but something that I know about myself
No.
is that when my energy gets negative, which it can in a nanosecond through a situation if I allow it to, when my energy gets
Mm-hmm.
negative, I don't find myself to be appealing to anyone in my life, including myself. However, when I do
Mm-hmm.
whatever I need to do to keep my energy positive and optimistic, I am a magnet for
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. And when I'm happy, that's a good place for me to be. So that's just something I know about myself. And
Yeah.
when I look,
Which is awesome. Most people don't.
it's taken me a
So
long time to learn
that's
it.
great.
Yeah. But I know that. And I just, I have to sometimes also, and I'm sure that you are faced with this, I really have to radically kind of lower my expectations of myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We are our own worst critic, right?
It gets intense. Like,
I'm very guilty. Yes, I have very high standards for myself and the people around me. And if it doesn't meet that, that's tend to be when I start to go into my shell and start to get really frustrated. And then just everything around you implodes all at the same time. And you're like, nope. But like you said, you just got to step back and pause, reevaluate, and then go from there.
and another thing that
So,
this is a recent learning, and again, I've been in business for 2+ decades, but one thing that I'm really,
yeah.
really passionate about that I tell everyone I know is um, to find a way, and this is something I'm doing myself. Find a way to do the thing now. Don't wait until you feel perfect. That's a big thing for me in my business.
There's never a perfect time. Yep.
And no, and if you wait, Ashley, in my experience, if you wait, sometimes you miss opportunities.
100%. You couldn't be more, it's like they say, don't start a business until it's the right time. Don't have kids until I'm like, there is no right time. You were never financially ready for what you were about to walk into with these children. So there's never a right time, and you are 100%. And sometimes I feel silly. So my business partner is very calculative, you know, financial, like the books have to work. And like right now we're in a state of business trying to figure out, we need to hire, which role do we hire? What do we hire? Can we afford the hire? And, so as we're talking to it, I go, I know this is going to kill you, but my gut says do this. The finances might not, nothing else might say it, but my gut says we will. We figure it out. You figure it out. I know that there's people who have the opposite.
Dry throat, my apologies. And that's another thing. I just like,
Nope. Nope, you're good. So it's just like you go with your gut and you're like, sometimes that there's no logical explanation, especially when you're dealing with people who don't have that mindset. I'm like, I don't know, you just figure it out and you do it. If I have to regrind just a little bit more because I know it's the right thing, you can't really, I don't think our guts are ever wrong, right?
oh, oh my gosh. I seriously teared up when you said that, Ashley. I had a situation very recently where I have a PR firm. I help news media nationally as well as here in Las Vegas. And I had an opportunity that came my way. And I didn't technically have time to help. And I didn't have a client who was a fit. So I got real ninja and I made something happen. And I found someone to help with the media opportunity who is now a new client of mine. Flash forward. And
That's
I went with my
awesome.
gut and it was crazy for me to even help. But I just knew this was a journalist I hadn't worked with before. And I knew it was a great opportunity. And I knew in my heart that if I found a way to do it, it would it would be magical in some way. And it was, but it's like if I
Yep.
had listened to
Yep.
like if I hadn't listened to my gut, it never would have happened. And now this new client is introducing me to people. And I had another situation with a local client I just got. So yeah, I think listening to our gut.
You just gave me
Oh,
goosebumps, just so you know.
oh my gosh,
That
both of these
that's
clients are
that
legitimately
is so cool.
amazing human beings.
Yep. Yep. And that it just goes to show, and I always say it to my employees and with insurance, like as long as you do the right thing, you do the right thing for the client. It might not make you the most money. We might not even get the client because maybe their policy with their current carriers perfect and they don't have any issues. If it was something else, like we could provide better service or whatever it is. But if we tell them and we say, what, you're great where you're at, or what, you really need to do this, and here it is. But maybe we placed them with a carrier that we didn't make as much commission on. It doesn't matter because I say at the end of the day, if you do the right thing for the client, it'll all come back around in a different form, in a different way. We don't know how, but I feel like that's why my business has grown to where it was. And I said, that's the reason, we keep getting leads, and I couldn't even tell you half the time where the leads come from. And so, I mean, I can, but, it's just from planting all the seeds. But at the end of the day, it's doing the right thing. But that all goes to show that, you go with your gut and you do the right thing, then it circles back. So I am excited that was an opportunity that you kind of went with, and now look at everything that's unfolding.
Yeah, and conversely, to your point you just made about doing the right thing, Ashley, I have some, mentees and then also some collaborators I've worked with over the years who will say things that just don't feel right to me. And when that happens, I really get curious and I don't try
Mhm.
to change them, but sometimes I'll explain. And one thing, and I don't know if you've heard this in your business, Ashley, but I've had more than one person say to me about a prospective client or about a situation when a business owner or leader is pushing back, he or she has money. They have money. And that is something that I was just talking to someone about it this morning. Just because they have money doesn't mean that they should spend it on my service
Yeah.
or that they should spend that percentage of
Hmm.
it or that they see the value. That's on me to
Yep.
explain, and they may or may
Yep.
not choose to do it. So that's something that I see a lot with collaborators I work with in regard to clients in the healthcare industry and the finance industry. And it bugs me
Mm.
because
Yep.
it's about doing the right thing.
Yes. 100%. I've always known you're a good human, and but it's just, I think this world is jaded, and there's a lot of not good humans out there. And I, over time have definitely shrunk my circle and I weeded out, but it's just a breath of fresh air knowing that there are still, and I know there's always still good humans out there, but it's hard to, it's hard to find sometimes in our industries and, around in the social circles. Um, Especially when you get to people who have money, but at the end of the day, I always tell people, just be a good human, do what you would want somebody to treat you or to give you advice for. Not everybody, we don't have to take on clients either, right? Not every client's a good fit for you. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And it's also,
and then it's just going to make your life even worse
oh
dealing
my
with
gosh,
it.
100%. And that was something that I wanted to share with you. I have a friend and client in a related industry to yours, and
Mm-hmm,
he may specialize in different lines of insurance. And I was
mm-hmm,
talking to him about you over lunch a couple weeks
sure.
ago. And I believe it's all about not having assumptions. So I said, hey, here's her company and here's what she does. He said, yeah, I would love to connect with her because I don't want clients in that industry, and she may want to refer me things. So I think it's about being radically
Yeah.
collaborative and not making any assumptions. I refer gigs to my competitors all the time and media opportunities, and I hope they do this.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that is such a big thing that I'm like, I'm actually really good friends with another independent agency owner here in Las Vegas. Can't why can't we be friends? There is plenty of insurance. Like there's plenty of people that need insurance. I'm not going to step on your toes. You're not going to step on mine. We can learn and help. I am a big proponent of collaboration. And I I get really frustrated when I was at State Farm, I feel like, and I know this is everywhere, but when I was there, I feel like a lot of agents weren't friends with each other because they saw themselves as competition and they didn't want to talk to this agent or they didn't want to talk to this agent because, they're competition and they felt threatened. Honestly, I'm like, but I don't understand why we couldn't be more friends. Like, we we're all marketing to different things, different people, different niches, like it really drives me nuts when people won't connect with me or want to be friends because they're threatened or they don't want to collaborate, because I'm competition. Like, no, we can all learn from each other.
Yeah,
Like,
and social media, you mentioned it earlier in our conversation. If I am, I have a public relations firm, but I collaborate with social firms, with search engine optimization firms, with digital marketing firms. So what I am really passionate
mhm,
about is always giving credit where credit's due. So I will never ever take credit for
yep,
someone else's work. I will always go out of my way to tag them on social media,
yeah,
my natural tendency is to be a little intimidated by my competitors. However, I feel that's a growth killer. So I've really challenged myself in recent
hmm,
years to just say, hey, I have a bunch of new clients in this industry and a bunch of new media relationships. How can we help each other? What kind of gigs are you looking for? Like, I don't do a lot of food and beverage right now. Do you have food and beverage clients? When I get
yep,
media asks, whatever it might be. So I really, and it makes me happy. I'm also
hmm,
growing a lot nationally. I'm
yeah,
looking for an extra client in New Jersey. I'm looking for an additional client in California. So I'm really, really radically collaborating. And I
yeah,
don't, and I'm not self-serving about it. I just have a real open mind about it. And I
hmm.
know it's going to take a lot of, you use the term regrind, which I love. What does that mean to you? I
Yes,
love that
yes.
term.
I go back to the drawing board and just, I'm trying to get away from the grind, right? But sometimes you just, when you own a business, you you really have to sometimes get back in the trenches. To me, that's what it means, is just getting back, rolling the sleeves up. I'm not necessarily, I'm always in the day-to-day stuff, but I'm not necessarily quoting people every day or doing policy changes. But when we need help, I do it. When we get backed up and behind, I'm back in the trenches, and you can't be afraid to do that.
Yeah, I bake and cook. It's one of my hobbies, and I made some. I do it a lot on Sundays. I'm not a fancy person that meal preps, but I make a lot of soups. I made a soup on Sunday that was one of them was perfect. I made two. One of them was horrible. It had no taste. I kept trying to add things to it. I just ditched it and started over. So that would be a regrind
Yep.
in cooking.
I love it. Yep. Yep. For sure. For sure. Well, I want to hear more about your business. What does PR mean? Let's just, get to the basics so people, I want our guests to understand and know what you do and what is a PR firm. When should a company hire a PR firm? If, give your overview on, your industry and what you do as a business, but then also like, tell me what you're looking for. Tell me, we're going to throw this out into the universe. So you said you're looking to grow nationally, which is awesome. So cool. So what can we find? And hopefully, we can find some reach. I'm a big networker. I love to network with people all over, no matter what, because I feel like there's always a place. So take it away and kind of give us your overview.
Well, it's very generous of you, Ashley. So, I would say that every public relations firm is different. What I specifically do in my public relations firm is I seek out opportunities to amplify business leaders, businesses, and personal brands. So that is what I do. And I do that through the editorial news opportunities and other marketing opportunities and strategic collaborations with both internal teams and clients' other marketing consultants. So that's what I do. And I work in a few different ways. I do have a few clients I work with on retainers. In this season of my business, and this sounds so funny whenever I mention it, but in this season of my business, recurring retainer clients feel like prison to me. So I only have a few of them. A lot of what I do is project work and recurring and seasonal project work.
Okay.
And a new program I have through this national campaign is called SEOPR. So that's Search Engine Optimization Public Relations. So what that is, and I do it for my local Las Vegas clients as well as clients in other cities and nationally, where I'm really seeking out national PR opportunities on websites and in magazines, on TV, that I help my clients remarket on their own social and on their own digital marketing.
Okay.
So that's a big focus of what I'm doing
Okay.
because I decided, based upon where I'm at in my life, my husband is now retired and I have family back in the Midwest. I like to work remote a lot. I decided that that was how I was going to be happiest.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned earlier, when I'm happier, I'm a magnet for opportunities. So that is kind of, in a nutshell, what I
Yep.
do and how I do it. I've also really focused on, I call myself a happy generalist. I will help anyone.
I love it.
If we're a match, Ashley. However, I do a lot of work in healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
in home services businesses, and I
Okay.
love small, locally owned businesses,
Mm-hmm.
and I love helping women owned businesses. But then there are a few things I really do
Yep.
not want to do in this season of my business. And one of those things is event PR. So
I don't blame
if
you.
you came to me and you said, "Hey, I'm having a big event, and that's all I want you to do. I want to have you PR it." I would probably refer you to one of my collaborators, or help you with certain
Mm-hmm.
aspects, but not the event PR.
Isn't it real? One thing that I feel like I'm not I'm not there yet. I can see glimpses of it, but where you're at right now and being able to be particular and really be picky about, I don't want to do this and I don't have to do this. When I first started, I had to write everybody and everything that came to me because I had to feed my family, right? And now, 5 years later, we turn 5 on March 1st. Yay. I want the people that respect my industry and want actual, professional licensed protection, and somebody to review it, and not just, I want the cheapest, the cheapest, the cheapest. Even though we can still find value, but they actually see the value in insurance. And I can turn you down. If you're not the right fit, we don't have to take you. And I love that you're doing that with you're at your stage that you found that, like, okay, I don't like this. It causes me stress. It gets me to the wrong spots, but you're, then turning them away. But I love that you've gotten there. And I think we all aspire to fully be where we want. To me, that's what entrepreneurship is, right? That's the perfect job, is to take what you want and to take deal with the clients that you want, and not have to deal with the head cases anymore, right? And the less stress. And then you really enjoy what you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. I 100% agree. And then, there are exceptions to every rule. Just this morning, a few hours ago,
Yeah.
I'm an early bird. I submitted a little press release rewrite for a business leader I'm a big fan of. And the price point, quite frankly, was not at my typical minimum. And I did it anyway. And then the individual kicked back an edit, and I had a super clear conversation by text. Can't stand negotiating by text, but I did. And said, hey, just so you know, this is going to be an extra $65. Are you okay with that? So I'm always radically, I don't over communicate. However, I've learned through some of those wrong turns I mentioned earlier that clear is kind, and I never want anyone to be surprised.
Yeah. I've heard that before. Clear is kind. That is so true. That really is.
Is that, I don't know, I want to say that's Brene Brown. Clear is kind,
I think
unclear is
so.
unkind. But
yes.
I'm the queen of unclear. I'm the queen of unclear if I let myself be.
And at the end of the day, it's always good to just I always tell people, I'm like, look, I'm just being transparent. I'm just in case, I got a phone call yesterday from a financial advisor. We work with a lot of them that want to refer people to us. And sometimes those, and so they're looking for a new referral partner. They've been really unhappy with their current agency that they've been referring to. They've just kind of been dropping the ball. So, I always like to ask, why are you looking for a new referral partner? Because sometimes it's them, right? Sometimes not. So I want to make sure I can at least meet their expectations. But, I'm like, hey, just, as we're wrapping up the conversation of getting to know each other and if we're the right fit, I have the conversation, I said, hey, I just want to be transparent. Are you looking for, commissions? Are you looking for, a financial kickback? And certain industries are very strict. You can't, but there's ways around it, right? Let me send you a gift card or whatever. He said, no, I don't want anything. I just want my clients taken care of. That's what we care about. And I said, perfect. I just want to make sure we're setting it up front, that I'm not, because sometimes then it gets really muddy and you're like, plus it's more work. So then, but clear and transparent is always so important.
And it's so uncomfortable too for me sometimes to have those conversations. I got a referral the other day. I got a referral about a month ago, and I had a chance finally to have a phone call with the person who referred me. And I asked the same question, can I give you a referral fee? What would be a happy gift for you? Because I am really grateful, and I never ever want anyone to feel resentful of me, because I have certainly been resentful and have felt unappreciated in previous seasons of my business. So I like to have those conversations and to be very blunt about it.
Yep. So true. That's so true. And it's always the uncomfortable conversations that are the hardest, but it also just, I think it solidifies, honestly, the partnership, or just the trust. To me, the trust from whomever you're talking to, I think that's what it helps, is they just solidify that trust in you. And because people do business with people they trust. So it goes a long way.
Yes. And I sometimes have I always seem to assume people can read my mind. So I don't feel that I answered your question about what I do very well.
Yep.
But basically, yeah, I mean, every client is so different,
Mhm.
and every public relations partner is so different. With me, I'm a little untraditional
Mhm.
because I'm not, I only have a few retainer clients right now. And I'm open to recurring work, but I'm really more about my clients and, what is their objective. I got a message on LinkedIn this morning from a contact of mine on the East Coast who wanted some help with something super specific. So what I do with my PR firm, Ashley, and it's about having those conversations, is I sort of curate and create like a team and a scope of services kind of on a menu basis.
Okay.
And I say, you know, tell me if I'm right or wrong, but here's what I think you're looking for right now. And then here is some digital content through some of my referral partners, that I can create for you. And here's how much that would charge. So that would cost, so that they can really pick and choose. Some of my clients, I do a lot of TV.
Okay.
I do a lot of national online. Some of my clients don't see the value in that. So I'm having those conversations and I'm saying, what what do you want people to know about your
Mhm.
business? And also another question I ask all the time, what is the most profitable for you?
That's good on.
So
I mean,
that
that's
I
what it
can,
means. That's what matters, right?
well, it's what, I feel that we should all make noise about what is the most profitable for us or what brings us the most joy, preferably both, but it's not always both. So yeah,
And that's
I ask my
totally true.
clients
That's
about that.
yeah. Yeah. That's it's I mean, I always tell people this. I'm like, everybody thinks an insurance salesman is a used car salesman. That's just the mentality. I think that's just the mentality people have. And I joke and people are in sales and I was like, why don't you be in insurance sales? And they're like, no. And I was like, do you really understand? I literally just go out and make friends. That is literally what I do. Do I understand insurance? Absolutely. Did I read the fine print? Absolutely. But once you know it, like I literally go out and make friends with all different industries, happy hours, coffee, lunch. Like that's what I do. I'm not a hunter, I'm a farmer. I like to build relationships and within those relationships, friends. I have so many friends just from marketing and networking and all the things and it's fun. Like that's what I tell people. That's what insurance salesman is. Like that's what it is. But not everything is the fun stuff, right? So to be profitable, sometimes it's the digging and the cold calling or, getting back to the basics. But the joy stuff is going out and having coffee and, doing all the fun things. So balance is maybe the good word, right?
Yeah, and and again, a curate joy is a big thing. Curate
Yeah.
joy. I used to be chase joy. Now I'm curate joy. But for me, I find that sometimes I will help a journalist with an opportunity through my resources and my network that it just makes me so happy to be able to help. So I'm a helper. Helping is something that brings me a lot of personal fulfillment
Hmm.
and joy, so that's one of the reasons I love what I do and that I will always do something similar. I may tweak how I do it, who my clients are, what industries I'm working in,
Hmm.
but it really is all about helping amplify important voices and
Hmm.
helping news media. And when I
Yeah.
can get compensated to do that, that's
Even
ideal.
better.
Even better. Yeah.
Yep. Well, kind of to circle it back around, what is something that you can kind of just tell our viewers and listeners? You touched on age. I feel like you've done such a phenomenal job of fine tuning your business to what you want and how you want to run it, not let I mean, I understand the pay is important, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't have the joy, what is a paycheck? So what's something that you can tell people who have a late start in life that still want to go out, and make, follow their heart and open the business, or maybe they need to make the changes that you did. It's never too late. What's something that you can like tell people, tell our listeners, like what's something that really helped you, get to this point?
One thing I would say immediately is be accessible. Be radically accessible and flexible, because that's something that I haven't always been in the past. And this, so I guess this would be the third thing, because I said two things. The third thing would be, and I may have said this before, reinvent yourself as many times as it takes. And then the fourth thing would be incredibly authentic.
So true.
When I'm not authentic, I'm not doing my best work. And I tell this story all the time. I want to say it was 2015, 2016, Northern Nevada, invited to present at an event. And I showed up in a suit and sensible shoes because I was trying to be all corporate. It didn't go well.
That couldn't be more true, because it's just, I always tell people I've done a million sales trainings, right? I've done the Sandler training. I've done all of this stuff. When you put a script in front of me, like the Cardone stuff, like when you make me sound like that and I am talking to you on the phone, reading off a script, even though I can make it where it doesn't sound like I'm reading off a script, it is not me, and you can tell. And I gotta be honest, when you go to the car lot, or you can tell that they're not authentic either. You're like, you can tell immediately when somebody is just not. I actually have a friend who is so out there in the sales role, but it's him. It's really him. Like, but I can tell. And so it's like, authenticity is so important. And it's almost, on social media, it's being real. Like, you know what? My house is not clean. It's not perfect. My children are not perfect. I put videos of my daughter screaming and crying all the time. Like, it is not, my highlight reel for sure. And I think that's where, you can see these influencers. You're like, your life is a little too perfect. I know that's not right. So now I don't believe you, or I don't follow it. So that's a really good one. It's a really good piece of advice.
Thank you.
So what are you looking for since you are going national? I would love, my whole point of this podcast is not only to hear your story, but I am a big proponent of just supporting other businesses and small businesses, particularly women, but it doesn't always have to be. What can we do to, what are you looking for in those other states to, expand? What, is there a specific industry? I know you said obviously no events, but mentioned healthcare and things like, anything specific. So, hey, you never know where you can find a client, and maybe you found it through a listener here. I don't know. I'm throwing it out to the universe.
Oh, thank you so much. Right now, and every season of my business changes, Ashley, but in this season of my business, and I say that through the whole year of 2024, because like I said, it takes a lot of repetition and a lot of, regrinding to use your term.
Yep.
So right now, I have a lot of amazing clients, and I've just got a couple new ones that are in completely different industries right now. Where I'm looking to grow nationally is helping home services businesses nationally, as well as healthcare businesses nationally, because I have a lot of really great media relationships in those areas. And there's a lot of group pitching I can do to journalists in those industries.
Yep.
So a home service business might be a locally owned cleaning and organizing business. Healthcare, maybe a group of doctors. I just got a group of ENT doctors on the East Coast. So those are the two industries that I'm really focusing on right now for growth. I also do a lot of work in many, many other industries, but those two are the ones that I'm really looking to grow into nationally, because those are industries that I have a lot of opportunities in right now.
Yep. That's so cool. And it's awesome that I always know a business owner is successful when they know where they can really help, and they know, for example, I can insure everything. I can literally insure everything. We do not touch health insurance. Not my forte. Don't even want to go there. Don't even want to spend our resources on it. And I'm going to contract out. Right. So I think I think when sometimes people are early on in their career and they're like, I have to do everything just to be successful. And that actually sometimes thins you out a little too much. And so the fact that you can narrow down and be like, no, this is where my connections are. This is where I can really thrive. And I'm going to work on this and find these people and these companies. Like that's awesome. And I think that's a true testament to success. It's not your bank account. It's not the amount of clients you have. It's I know where I'm going to really thrive and I know where I'm going to really do right by my clients. So congrats to you. And that's, I think, a big telling part of, how good you really are in your industry.
Oh, thank you. In the healthcare, and both industries, and I'll share very briefly. Both industries are industries I'm really personally passionate about. A lot of
Mhm.
healthcare providers and mental health providers have been super, super helpful to me, to my close
Yep.
friends, to members of my family. And as far as the home services businesses, for many, many years, I had a real big personal issue with clutter. And I, kind of
Don't
just
need me to see my house right now.
yeah, no, but I mean, yeah, so I needed help. I needed help. So, 2020, my husband and I downsized, and I was like, I want to live in a different way. So that's one
Yep.
of the reasons that I love helping these business owners in this home services industry, because I feel that they really make life better because they made my life better. So yeah, that's
I
kind
think
of
it's been on my dream to have like a home organizer come and just
let's make it
if
happen.
the kids came. It's I know, right?
I can hook you up.
Perfect. I will reach out because let me tell you, my house is a disaster. And you know what? Honestly, I'm not good at that stuff. My desktop at my work, well, not fully right now, but it's pretty organized. But you go to my house, it's a whole different world. But one thing that I've noticed is when my house gets out of a line and it just gets crazy clutter, so does like I hate using the word anxiety, but like so does like my angst, like just all over, and you could just feel it in your life shifts. And so it's like, no, 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 we need to spend a little extra time. Let's fix it. Let's organize it. But now that I've learned, with two-year olds running around, there isn't really that much time. So there are things you stay in your lane for and things you hire out for.
Yeah, no, I mean, 100%. And yeah, so that's kind of like when I say the season of my business.
Yes.
So,
I,
these are,
I I love that because you're in an industry that you can, and you can always shift your business. There's nothing wrong with shifting the focus and going, you have joy. These things bring you joy to really help them and help those business owners.
well, one trick bag about PR, Ashley, and I'm sure the same thing happens in your business, is I am only as successful as I am when I'm helping media. So if media contacts reach out to me, and that happened recently around Super Bowl here in Las
Mm,
Vegas, one of my contacts is like, I need some small businesses to interview for this story, and I found them. Only one of them was my client, but I need to. That's one of the reasons I'm so collaborative. So I know,
mhm.
a lot of people in my industry and kind of who their clients are, so that I can be helpful and valuable to my journalist relationships. So even though
That's
I
true.
may only be specializing in a handful of industries, I am connected in every industry because I have to be.
But that's true success. I think that's truly like I think that speaks volumes to you and your business. Um, because then it also, I have those referral relationships too. And sometimes we can't help, but I have other people that I have trusted partners that I send right to. So we're very similar, I think, in that. And I think that's kind of what makes you trustworthy. And that's why people, seek you and find you. And not everybody's the cup of tea, but that to me is where you've quote unquote made it, right? Like you're doing okay.
It's a journey, but I'm
It is.
enjoying it, and I'm truly so grateful for this opportunity to have this conversation, and I hope to see you in person soon.
I know I was actually half this call today. I was like, we need to go out and have coffee, especially after I was like, I haven't like actually had the one on one. I was like, we just really need to connect because I mean, chance to get out of the office and go meet. So I am so excited that you, wanted to come on and share your journey. And, I appreciate you telling your story, and I can't wait I'm glad we got to reconnect. And we for sure need to have that coffee. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you coming on here and telling us about your journey, and can't wait to do it again.
Thank you so, so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ashley Mostowski. Tune in next time for more inspiration and stories from women who've made an impact. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Special shout out to Little Dog Social Media for making all of this come together.